Hey everybody, welcome back to the SuperBro MovieShow. I'm your host for this week, Jackson Hayes. We got a great show for you this week. I'm editor of SuperBroMovies.com, and you can find me on Twitter at JacksonHayes67. I'm joined by a great panel today. Jacob, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, this is Jacob Campbell. I'm a head writer for the site. I've been on the past few podcasts. Not much else to say. My Twitter is at JacobCamp13, and this week we're also joined by Mark. Mark, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey guys, I'm Mark Tan. I'm a writer for the site. You can find me on Twitter at natcram92796. I'm happy to be here.
Colin, go ahead.
I'm Collin. I'm also a writer on the site. You can find me on Twitter at Collin Stetzner. Pretty simple.
All right, so we're joined by two new guys today, so we'll get their takes on some of the news from the past week. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. We got some decently sized news today. The CW announced that Batwoman has been cast. Ruby Rose, who you might know from John Wick, Orange is the New Black, the Meg that's coming out this week, will take on the role of Batwoman. She's set to appear in the crossover later this year, and then she's going to be spun off into her own solo series. So, I mean, that's pretty big news. Jacob, what's your opinion on it?
I'm moderately excited for it. Like I said in the past few podcasts, I haven't watched the CW shows in a while. I'm a little behind on everything. But Ruby Rose is a good actress. She's been in some great stuff like John Wick 3 and all that. And I think she'll do a great job with the role. Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty much agreeing with you. I've seen a few movies I've seen with Ruby Rose where she's been in an action role. She's been pretty good. And just from what I've seen, I feel like she could take on the role of Batwoman pretty well. Even though Batwoman isn't really something that I've read in a while. But I feel like given that the character Batwoman and her, they're both openly gay, that's already certainly a qualification that could make her be a really strong performer.
Yeah, Colin, what do you think?
I love it. I love the idea of Batwoman coming to the CW. I'm definitely not as passionate about the CW as you are, Jackson. But, I still haven't given up hope on The Flash, even though it's just been not very
bad.
good the last
It's
couple
very
years.
bad. You can say it.
Yeah,
What you're looking for is garbage.
I didn't want to say it. I just want to outright say
Listen,
it.
I don't either. I love the show, but you got to say the truth is the truth.
It's just bad. And Arrow was fine this last year. Legends of Tomorrow was excellent, definitely by far the best. And I'm excited now to have Batwoman definitely come over in this crossover, and I'm excited to have her get her own TV series. It should be just amazing.
See, Colin needs to be on every week because he gets my CW opinions.
He just doesn't want to get fired, Jackson. Come on.
All right, I agree completely with everything Colin said. Ruby Rose, honestly, is an actress that has a better pedigree than most people you see on the CW. I mean, not to shade anyone that's on it, but they're TV actors for the most part, and they're good at what they do. Yeah, Ruby Rose has been in huge blockbusters the last couple years. I mean, she was in a number of them just last year, and it's hard to think of her coming to like the small screen. She was on Orange is the New Black, but that's a Netflix series. It's something big, like big budget. A bunch of good actors. I'm really excited for this, honestly. The internet has their own opinions on it, and that they can do with them as they will. But I think Ruby Rose can really take this role in a good way, and I'd love to see a series with her. I'm excited for that to come. I'm ready for her to bounce off of Stephen Amell and Grant Gustin in the crossover. I think it's gonna be really awesome. Any other thoughts, guys?
Do you think she keeps the short hair?
Yes.
Don't. I think they'll probably grow it out a little
so.
bit. Yeah, probably a little at least, because it's
like
pretty short right now.
I saw a lot of people actually wanted her to play, what was it, Killer Frost, like when they did if they did her in a movie. I was like, that could be pretty interesting, but I think she'll do pretty good as Batwoman.
Yeah, I mean, I heard people saying that they're upset that she's not playing Batwoman in the DCEU, the movie itself. Like, that's how, big of an actress she's become. Yeah. So it's interesting. I mean, she's in her own TV series, which is a commitment. These CW shows go for, 3-4 seasons, at the least. So we'll see where that goes, excited for that.
I think it would have been a while before we actually got Batwoman in the DCEU. That would have been like we would have seen.
Oh no, I
few
agree.
more
Yeah,
years.
for sure.
So I think this is pretty good.
Yeah, Ruby Rose would have been.
Yeah,
she'd have been dead by then. Yeah, not dead, but like.
She's an old woman by the time we get to Batwoman.
At this rate, with the amount of DC movies that are in production that aren't Harley Quinn movies, we'd have to wait like 55 years.
Actually, I think that's a good jumping off point. It was recently announced that a Supergirl movie is in development at Warner Brothers. Jackson, what do you think about that?
This is the 80th movie they've announced this year, so just another one to add to the list. They got Oren Uziel writing the script. He wrote it 22 Jump Street and the Cloverfield Paradox, so a little bit of a mixed bag there. But this is interesting. Where is Man of Steel 2? Everyone's been asking it for the last 5 years. That's what everyone's been clamoring for. So it's hard to see. I mean, it's only in development. It's not been greenlit. There's no director. There's no actor. So it's still up in the air, but it is being developed along with all these other movies. So I mean, Mark, what are your takes on a Supergirl movie?
My take is that it, like you, it's announced. It's a thing that's happening. We'll see what happens from here. I mean, Oren Uziel, he can be hit and miss, and he hasn't really worked on any project that's this big or superhero related. So maybe we won't see another Cloverfield Paradox fiasco again. Maybe he could bring something new to the table. But since nothing is really set in stone, I have nothing that much to add other than I'm interested.
And I think Supergirl could be a good addition. The DCU is so young in what it's doing. I need more of our established heroes. Like I need another Man of Steel 2. You can't just give me one Superman movie and then basically a Batman with Superman movie and then a Justice. I'm not even talking about that one. I need more Superman if I'm going to get into actually having Supergirl come into this world. And it's just. Go ahead, Jackson.
Yeah. Would you be upset? I mean, throw it out to the whole panel if Supergirl was a kind of backdoor Man of Steel 2, and Henry Cavill played a huge part in it, and this is the story of her coming to Earth. It's been done in the comic books dozens of times. Would that be something to upset you? Do you want just a direct Man of Steel 2, or would you take a Supergirl kind of lead role for Henry Cavill?
I prefer Colin, if you want to take this one.
Oh, sorry. No, you can go ahead. I just talked a lot.
Yeah, for me, I would definitely prefer a Man of Steel 2 direct sequel. I feel like the best way they could. I mean, I go what you're saying with the backdoor pilot. That could almost be kind of like what they should use a Supergirl movie as is the bridge to a new generation of the DC movies. The way I always think of it is kind of like how Spider-Man: Homecoming was. They had Tony Stark in it a lot, but it was mainly focused on the newer generation of the Avengers and this new superhero. That's how they should treat the movie as. You need to build, but before you can even do that, you need to build up the characters you already have. We need to have a direct sequel to Man of Steel. We need to see more of Superman himself, and then him eventually building up to bringing in these new heroes in, like Supergirl. That's just my take on it. Mark, what do you think?
I think that with Supergirl, she could have her own standalone movie, and maybe even have one where Superman might not be in it at all. But the fact is, the DCEU, they're already trying to course correct Superman himself, and without that, you can't really have a good Supergirl. Because with Justice League, the Superman portrayed in that one is so much different from the one in Batman v Superman and Man of Steel that just bringing in Supergirl immediately, it'll feel like whiplash the same way that introducing Batman this late in the game, at least for him, in Batman v Superman was.
All right, let me jump off. I think it's a good take. Let me jump off of that real quick because there is something interesting that I had forgotten about, but actually heard about today. Is that Supergirl was technically not technically introduced into the DCEU through a comic book, a prelude to Man of Steel back in 2013, where she crash landed on Earth thousands of years before Superman came. That's the ship he ended up finding in Man of Steel, and that's where all those rumors came of the Atlanteans and the Amazonians being part Kryptonian, and that she was already on Earth. Do you think that that kind of Snyder vision or that kind of take is something that they're going to stick with, or are they going to scrap that completely, like you said, Mark, and go with that new Justice League kind of Superman? Colin, what do you think?
Oh, okay. I'm glad you passed it to me and not Jacob because I didn't want him to just immediately destroy Zack Snyder right away. But that's another one of those.
I was all ready to. I was like, "Ooh, here we go."
I knew you were. I was getting really scared. But I'm gonna kind of take the route of Jacob, and I'm just gonna chalk this up to another stupid Zack Snyder idea. There's no way they'd keep that story up. Not enough people read these Prelude comics. Not everyone does.
To be fair, I don't think he wrote it, but it seems to be it was some part of his vision.
No, it's like I get what you're saying.
And there was a woman in the ship that could have been Kara.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying here, but it's just not enough people read that. Not enough people know that. I didn't even know that until you brought that up. So I think they're gonna just scrap it all together, make her a nice, young, happy Supergirl, kind of take the route of Spider-Man, kind of, I think.
All right, do you think they're going to steer away from the show a little bit? Colin, have you watched any of that? Because I only watched the first few episodes of the first season. I couldn't really get through it.
I haven't watched the first season. I only really watched the crossover and the stuff with Superman. Cause,
yeah, same with me. Same with me. Actually,
I tried the same thing. I couldn't really get into Supergirl that much.
All right, Mark, do you think this could cause issue with the CW show being on?
I don't think it will, although obviously it depends on the direction they're going to go. But based on, I've not seen that many of the Arrowverse shows. I've only seen a couple episodes of each of them. But I get the feeling that tonally, they're different enough that I think you could establish a new Supergirl in the DCEU different from the Arrowverse.
I mean that's a fair point. I think it would be difficult taking the Superman that we saw in Justice League and the Supergirl that we have on the CW and taking the similar tones and kind of blending them into its own, movie. It would be easier for me in terms of tone to go with more of a Snyder vision of Krypton and the story than maybe what we got in Justice League of just the straightforward like truth American justice kind of thing that we got out of Superman. Jacob, what do you think? What should they do with Supergirl?
For me, I definitely think they should veer away from the direction of the Arrowverse shows, just because they meet when they.
So you're saying they should go with the Snyderverse?
No, not that either. I'm kind of like something else. Okay, so with Snyder and the whole she crashed down years ago direction, I don't think Warner Brothers is going to go with that, because if everything they're doing in the DC right now is veering away from Snyder's vision, they're trying to distance themselves from that sort of darker kind of storytelling, and also just all the movies as well. They're focusing more on solo stuff right now. They're not really building on what's been there. It's almost like they hit the reset button, but all the actors are still there, and all the stories are there, you just don't reference them. So I don't think they're going to reference that storytelling. And I think they're going to veer away from Arrowverse as well, since when they first made Kara into when she became Supergirl, she was already an adult, she had a job and everything, and it just happened. I think the best way to do it is you introduce her as Supergirl when she's young, when she's a teenager in high school. It'd be, honestly, there's so many more stories you can do with that than just, because then essentially she's just a Wonder Woman ripoff if they just make her, just like that, like she's on the Arrowverse. You know what I'm saying?
No, I definitely see your point. I feel like the tone needs to be specific to Supergirl, because Wonder Woman, it's a tight rope you have to walk to do something that is already on TV. We don't know what's happening with the Flash movie, but they're going to have to veer away from what you're getting on the CW, because there's a large audience base that just watches the CW show and, is maybe not a fan of Justice League and all of that. And, your opinion on the CW show lately be what it will. The first 2 seasons were really good, and people really enjoy Grant Gustin as the Flash, so it's hard to see Ezra Miller. Supergirl, I wouldn't say is as received as well as the Flash has been. Since its inception, but you have to walk the tightrope, because what we got from Snyder in Man of Steel was so specific. It was such a specific Krypton. It was such a different take than what we'd seen. It's gonna be hard, especially for Snyder purists, to go back and kind of retcon some stuff if that's what they're gonna do with Krypton. Because it ended the way it did. That entire opening sequence I really enjoyed in Man of Steel, but a different take on Krypton. Is that something you guys want to see? Would you want to go back to Krypton? Maybe a flashback in Supergirl?
I loved the opening scene of Man of Steel. I love the movie in general, but the opening scene I thought was really good. Krypton looked amazing. The only thing that was kind of stupid was it felt kind of like Coruscant, there was just no bottom ground to it. And I didn't like how they were using dragonflies to fly around, but it looked visually, it was stunning. I would like to go back to it, I think.
Yeah, I agree with Colin. I'd definitely love to go back. I loved Man of Steel. A lot of the other DC movies I'm a huge fan of, but I loved Man of Steel. And I feel like the visuals on Krypton were amazing, so getting to see that again would definitely be great. I'd like that. Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, I feel like that going back in that direction would be really interesting, because I think I think Man of Steel was very, very promising, and the fact that the DCU didn't quite evolve the way that we might have expected it is disappointing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. All right, That's probably enough Supergirl talk, but let's keep the DC women theme going. We got some Birds of Prey news this week. First off, we got the big confirmation of the villain. Black Mask is going to be the villain. We'd heard rumors that it might be the Penguin, but it has been in fact been confirmed that it's the Black Mask. Colin, why don't you kick us off? What you got?
I personally, I'm not too sure about this movie in general. Black Mask does get me somewhat more excited. I do like him as a villain, and I think a good casting for him would maybe be John Hamm. What do you think about that, Jacob?
John Hamm, that could actually that could be pretty interesting to see. Actually, I never thought about that, but now I actually kind of want that. Yeah, me with Black Mask, I think it's going to be a great villain to see in the movie, especially because it seems like they're going for that kind of like smaller budget, kind of like on the street level kind of movie. And I feel like Black Mask is the perfect villain for that. He's just this crime boss, and it'll be cool to see against all the Birds of Prey. And I kind of want this John Hamm casting now. Mark, what about you?
Now, Black Mask is a. I mean, I don't know that much about the character. I don't really read the Birds of Prey, but just from your description, I feel like he will be a really interesting villain. Especially with Black Mask being the hitman that he is, and also with Birds of Prey possibly being a smaller movie for DC. I think it'll be a nice change of pace from what we've been getting the past couple of years, both Birds of Prey and Black Mask.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think one key point that needs to be brought up in this is that what Jacob was talking about with being grounded. The one issue Suicide Squad had was that third act was utterly ridiculous with the Beam and Enchantress when it should have been a small scale movie against the Joker like everybody else thought it was going to be. This is where they can right that ship, and they can have this group of heroines come in and fight a gang lord in Gotham or wherever they may be on the streets, rather than having this ginormous third act that has to blow us out of the water. Small scale seems like the perfect take on this. Colin, do you think they're going in the right direction with this?
Honestly, with any of these upcoming movies, it's really hard to say. I mean, except for Aquaman and Shazam look really good. Wonder Woman 84, which should make you happy, does
Absolutely.
actually look pretty good from the pictures. I think they're going in the right direction, and if they keep it small scale, like Jacob said, I think they could really nail it. Black Mask is a good villain, and I'm excited to see Black Canary.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that, we got a little bit more news out of Birds of Prey. We got what was reported is a wish list that Warner Brothers has for the characters. We got two characters specifically to go along with Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. That's Blake Lively, husband of Ryan Reynolds. She's been in a ton of things. She was in Green Lantern. And Vanessa Kirby, who was most recently in Mission Impossible Fallout, that they're up for the role, or that WB wants them for the role of Black Canary. Mark, why don't we kick it off with that? I know you're a big Fallout fan. What'd you think of Vanessa Kirby?
Yeah, in Fallout, I thought Kirby was a standout element in it, mainly because she seemed very mysterious and almost intriguing, just in terms of her appearance. And I would very much like to see her in Birds of Prey, in a similar role.
Colin, do you think Blake Lively could pull off Black Canary?
I do. I think with Vanessa Kirby, she just looks like a bit too young with me, but Blake Lively, just the way she looks, she has like this commanding look. Like I'm drawn to her, and she just really resonates power, and I feel like that's what you're gonna need for Black Canary.
Jacob, are you there?
I actually agree with Colin. I think that'd be really good to see Blake Lively in the role of Black Canary. Like you said, she's the husband of Ryan Reynolds. I think that'd be really good.
Yeah.
Did you?
I was spacing on the movie she was in.
I know she was actually in The Shallows. That was a really good movie.
God damn it! I saw that. That was good.
I watched
that was
that the
good.
other day.
That was
it
good.
actually was fine.
Yeah, it's really good. I think she's in that new movie coming out with Anna Kendrick. I can't remember the name. I think it's
What
that's
happened?
what it's called. Yeah.
What happened to
Just a
whatever.
note, I'm a huge
Yeah.
Blake Lively fan. I'm not trying to,
Probably not.
just make a Ryan Reynolds. I couldn't think of anything off the top of my head, all right?
Blake Lively, I think that would be great as the role of Black Canary. Another role I heard going on was Alexandra Daddario. I can't remember her name. Is that right?
Yeah,
Alexandra Daddario is a Huntress. I think that could be interesting. I know a lot of people when they do like fan casts, they put her in the role as Zatanna, and I think that would be really cool. But she could also do a pretty good job as Huntress. What do you guys think? Colin, do you have any opinions on that?
I don't I don't really recall seeing her in anything too big. Do you have any?
She was in Percy Jackson. That was a really good movie.
Baywatch, and San
Oh,
Andreas.
she was in Baywatch. Percy Jackson's came out when we were in like middle school. I don't remember that very much.
I remember her. I remember
like
her
to
well
talk
from
about
those.
that movie.
Not a big.
They weren't quality, but
Not a big fan. It was hurtful.
he's a purist. He's a Percy Jackson purist.
Percy Jackson chill over here. No, I think she could be fine. Really, I just think it has to be a good movie. You gotta show me something good. You gotta cast some good characters if you want me to be interested in this movie coming.
Listen, Colin is not sold on Birds of Prey, and I respect that. I respect it. I think you'd be interesting with the right cast. I think you throw a powerful group of women together. It does depend on the cast. You need people that can lead this film. I mean, Margot Robbie's going to do Margot Robbie. We know she can do that. She took Suicide Squad to another level when it was trying to reach the depths of hell. It was not a good movie, but. You get Blake Lively and Alexandra Daddario in there. I think you'd have a really powerful cast to go against whoever you cast as Black Mask in this. And I think they're doing the right thing here. I think those are some interesting choices. All right, next up, this is something for Jacob here. He asked for this specifically this week. There was not a rumor, but some people had the idea. Some fans had the idea of maybe instead of recasting Ben Affleck for Matt Reeves as the Batman, that WB could use their expertise with whatever studio or company they're gonna cipher this out to, would be to de-age Ben Affleck for the Batman to make him look younger so that he can be in Reeves' Batman that's set 15 to 20 years. All right, Jacob, you go right ahead. I'm gonna leave it to you.
I'll jump in here, Jackson. I got this. Here we go. If you listen to last week's podcast, you got to hear my very open and objective opinions on Zack Snyder's decision to kill off Dick Grayson and bring Carrie Kelly as a new Robin. So this is what a new little bit we're starting called Jacob's Rants. This week, as Jackson said, is about young Affleck. Someone on Twitter took a picture of Ben Affleck as Batman and used, I think it was Facetune or one of those like Face app things to make him look young. And everyone's like, oh my god, Warner Brothers needs to do this now. We don't need a new actor for the Batman. We just need this. And I'm like, okay, dude, it's one picture. You use Photoshop. Literally anyone can do that. And then someone's like, oh yeah. And so they took a clip of him from Batman vs Superman and de-aged him with the Face app thing and some Photoshop. And I'll admit, it looked pretty good. But the issue with this is you're asking Warner Brothers, the people who can't remove a mustache, to de-age Ben Affleck throughout an entire movie. I know there's going to be some people that listen, or all two of our viewers are going to be like, oh yeah, well, they de-aged Michael Douglas and Robert Downey Jr. in the Marvel movies, and they're going to de-age Samuel L. Jackson and Clark Gregg. Yeah, they are, and every time they've done it, it looked good. But it wasn't for a whole movie, it was for like a scene or two. Trying to de-age an actor for like an entire movie? Do you know how expensive that is? Like, that you could pay 2 actors for, instead of having to de-age one actor. Like, that makes no sense whatsoever. And that's just my opinion on it. And I think if you, like, retweeted that thing and you're like, this is a good idea, they should do this. Okay, stop. Just chill. You have no idea what you're talking about. Mark, what are your opinions on this? You have,
I think that whoever believes that you could make a whole movie with a de-aged actor is just kind of iffy, especially with Warner Brothers' history with CGI isn't up to par with Marvel's.
The mustache is just fantastic. I just want to bring it the whole reason this is dumb. They can't remove a mustache without messing up Henry Cavill's amazing face. What are you doing? It's not that hard. Just, someone did it like in 5 seconds in Photoshop, and it looked fine. Oh my god, it's so dumb. It's Jesus. Jackson, do you have any thoughts? Colin, anything?
Marvel's gonna attempt to do it with Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, then again, he's not going to be the main character, and I don't think he's going to be in it all that much. So
here's the real question that no one is asking. Are you going to get Ben Affleck to walk onto the set with green screen on his face for an entire movie? 3 months, 4 months, 5 months of shooting, reshoots. You're going to get Ben Affleck in there with green screen on his face to de-age him for an entire movie. The man won't even commit to a regular movie. Like that's the whole issue here, is that we've been going back and forth with him committing, decommitting to playing the role. Are you going to get him into this with all this green screen, nonsense? I don't think you are. I don't think Affleck wants to do it. I don't think he would do it. I don't even think it's a question. I think this was a ridiculous, fanboy pipe dream. Just let it go. He's going to be recast. It's okay. Just get over it. It's all right. They're going to reboot Batman in 10, 15 years anyway. Let's just, leave it at that. Any other thoughts?
Imagine the budget that movie would require to do that the entire time. Because
Exactly.
you're going to have to
You
pay
could
Ben
hire two
Affleck even
actors.
more.
You're going to have to pay him $50 million. Then you're going to have to pay $200 million to do all the CGI. On top of the other CGI they're going to have to do anyway, no matter who the villain is, who whatever is, all this nonsense.
Exactly.
It's good.
God forbid he has a mustache.
Is
Oh my God, that's terrible.
is WB going to greenlight a $300 million Batman movie? I don't think so.
Especially when the DCU is, not doing as hot as everyone would like it to be in the box office. No.
Absolutely not. Did
You're not gonna make that money
Did you
back.
see Justice League's box office numbers? Like, they're not going to greenlight anything like that with that kind of budget. I mean, the reshoots they did for Justice League ballooned it. It ballooned the budget. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. Just get over it.
I think that wrapped it up pretty nicely. This has been Jacob's Rants. If you have another topic you'd like us to make a rant about and then open up to the field, let us know. And now we're going to move on to our next topic. A little bit of some Marvel news this week. Dave Bautista recently came out, and he said that he would ask Marvel to release him from his contract or to be recast if they do not use James Gunn's script.
I got the quote right here,
for
Jacob,
Guardians of
so
the
I can
Galaxy
read
Do
it
you
out.
have it? Yeah.
He said
Yeah,
this was him speaking to the short list. This came right after his controversial tweet where he said that he'll do whatever he's legally obligated to do with James Gunn, but he did not sign up for Guardians of the Galaxy without James Gunn. So he, in the tweet before the quote, he said, "It's also pretty nauseating to work for someone who'd empower a smear campaign by fascist #cyber-Nazis." That's your own opinion. We're not going to get too deep into what happened with Gunn. We're really going to talk about Bautista. Here's his quote from the short list. "Where I'm at right now, if Marvel don't use the script," meaning Gunn's script for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which he'd already finished before all this went down, "then I'm going to ask them to release me from my contract, cut me out, or recast me. I'd be doing James a disservice if I didn't." So Bautista is not on board if Gunn's, if he's severed completely, if he doesn't use the script, if he's not directing. He does not want to be involved. He wants to be out. So let's start with Mark. Mark, what do you make of all this?
I think that Bautista supporting Gunn is probably a good thing because he's among many people who have worked with him for several years now. So the fact that he's standing up for Gunn, I think, is on point with Bautista and how open he is about issues like this.
Everyone's come out in support of James Gunn, but Dave Bautista's been by far his biggest supporter. And I completely understand where he's coming from with wanting to support his friend. They've obviously worked together for so long. James Gunn helped build this franchise that has no business being where it's at now. With Dave Bautista being as popular as Drax as he is, I completely understand why he would walk out if they don't at least use his script to end the trilogy of these characters, this group of characters that have been bonded into a family. And I understand where he's come from. He wants to keep that in the family. He wants to make sure that Drax, Star-Lord, Gamora, Groot, Rocket's story all end with each other by the man who started it, really. Not to leave out, someone else also wrote Guardians of the Galaxy. I can't remember her name. But
Nicole Portman?
Nicole Portman, there you go.
Nicole Portman, yeah. But James Gunn did have a huge part in that directing it, so I didn't want to leave her out as well. I completely understand it. I get where he's coming from. I wish he wouldn't, because I don't think they're going to use Gunn's script at all. I don't think James Gunn would let him. I wouldn't personally if I was James Gunn. But
I mean, it's tough to say if that's legally. I'm not sure. It's all logistical because he turned it in. It's hard to say what he was commissioned, so he might have been paid already. It's hard. It's hard to tell. I think this is interesting. I think Bautista is obviously been the most vocal out of everyone in all the Guardians cast. It's hard for me to say though because Drax is like an integral part of the Guardians. He's arguably the heart of them. He's changed the most from the first movie to the end of Infinity War. I'd say he's probably had the biggest arc of all of them, but it's hard to say like what Disney is like willing to do with this and what lengths they're willing to go. Are they just letting to go like, all right, Bautista, you're out of here. That's fine. We don't need it. We'll make money regardless. Do you guys think if someone like Chris Pratt as Zoe Saldana came out with a similar statement or even close to his level of Bautista's level of where he's at, that Disney would have to act on something? Jacob, what do you think?
Sir, I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people I see on Twitter that they have their opinions on it. They're like, he's acting like he's the Hulk, or he's acting like he's this important character. Well, yeah, he is this important character. Drax is like, he's like you said, Jax. He's an integral part of the Guardians of the Galaxy. 10 years ago, if you asked someone who are the Guardians of the Galaxy, they'd have no idea. Like some random dude on the street wouldn't know. But now he'd be like Drax, Peter Quill, Gamora, all these characters. Everyone knows this character. Dave Bautista made Drax who he is on camera, and I feel like it would be difficult to recast him or let the character go.
I don't even.
So I feel like that's.
I don't even think recasting should be talked about. I think that would be
exactly.
I think that would be
Recast
ridiculous.
it
I would think if Marvel, not to like just name names, but threw someone in there, just John Cena or The Rock or whoever can, someone else can be that.
Exactly.
It's not. Batista made this role his own, and James Gunn was integral in that. Like James Gunn fought for Batista. Batista was a wrestler. Like this was his big break in acting. And he's taken it to another level. He's gotten a bunch of other franchises off of this. He was in James Bond and Blade Runner. Like he's in a ton of things, and he owes that to James Gunn. He's fighting for his friend, and that's fair. And you commend that. But the real story here is, what is Disney going to do about this? Because I feel the same way you do, Colin. I don't think they're going to use the script. I think they're going to have it rewritten because they don't want any ties if that's where they're going with this. So I mean, Mark, what does Disney do?
If Disney were to not, if Disney were to keep the script, James Gunn's script, it's one of those things where I think the movie would feel like it was obligatory, like it just had to be made. Whereas if Disney were to drop Gunn's script, then of course Batista would ask Disney to remove the contract. But not just Batista. I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be against it. Most notably Zeldana, Pratt, basically everybody else who's been regular in the series, even, say, the crew members.
Here's another question. Would you guys want to see Gunn's script in someone else's hands? Because, with comedy, it's very director-specific. The way the beats go, the way, the jokes land, it's very on the director, and it's written well. That's fine. Jokes can land without, the greatest timing, but like it helps, and the Guardians are, they're known for that. So do you want to see, someone else take Gunn's script and make this movie? Colin, what do you think?
Perfect. I was hoping you were going to call me. If not, I was going to interrupt and be like, can I take this one? Like you said, Drac had a huge arc over the start of the Guardians of the Galaxy all the way into Infinity War. Infinity War, Drax was getting some of the biggest laughs in the theater.
Oh, by
Anytime
far.
he would say something. Like, why is Gamora? That was hilarious. I loved it. When he was standing still,
Right, and
he was
from,
invisible.
And from the Russos, that was improvised. That was Batista himself.
And James Gunn supposedly had to write some of the Guardians dialogue.
Yeah, we broke that story,
too.
By the way.
Yeah, we did.
I did specifically, but we did as a group.
That was such a good humble brag. Oh my god, I didn't even notice it.
I love it.
It's so subtle.
Anyways, like you said, comedy's very director inputted. Like James Gunn has such a huge role with that, and I think him and Batista, they really understand the character and each other, and that really helped bounce it out. And I think you need the script, you need Gunn to get the full potential out of this whole comedy situation, which the Guardians have become. It's constant jokes between the group, and that's what makes it lovable.
Jacob, do you think you could do a 50-50 with the script without Gunn? Do you think would you want that to go ahead?
I look at it this way. What's an example of a movie that one director was already there, and it was his story, and then they got rid of him and they brought someone else on?
You're bringing up Justice League.
How'd that work? That didn't work out
I mean,
well.
it's different because this would be pre-production or pre-filming, so
still,
it's
like,
different. But you're
like
right.
You said,
No,
it's someone else's story. The new director wouldn't really have the same like take on it.
Well, the issue would be they wouldn't be able to have Gunn's input on the script like the way if Gunn decided not to direct the third one for A, B, and C, but he wrote the script, there would still be a collaborative process there. So,
I don't think we'd have the collaborative process at all.
He's gone.
Exactly.
So I don't know if they can.
I might be wrong. Doesn't he still get like a producer credit on it? Because when you cast,
if they use the script, but they're
I thought
not
it was if
characters.
if you use a character that he casted, Isn't that like?
I'm not sure on the
how that
logistics.
works.
Maybe.
So
I
I
know
think
yeah.
exactly. It's just it's so difficult to do. This whole situation is it's the fact he was fired is still just like it makes no sense at all. The jokes were like 10 years ago. They were terrible, disgusting jokes, but still they were 10 years ago. Makes no sense. It's just it's a terrible situation, and I don't think no matter what happens, no one's gonna be happy. There's gonna be some group of people that are just they don't like what happened at all, and it's just it's difficult. I don't know how I stand on all.
Mark, your thoughts on a James Gunn script, but no directing?
I would really hate to see Gunn's script not being directed by him, because Gunn, both in the writing and directing position, he has this really strong personality that you can feel in both the Guardians movies, and even to a lesser extent in Infinity War, or even if he's not writing or directing, the fact that he's established the character so well, even other people working on it, you can still feel Gunn's presence.
No, I totally agree. And this is a no-win situation in any way. But if it took Gunn's script with another director to keep Bautista, does that differ the situation in your mind?
I think it still feel the same. I mean, it depends. I mean, if let's say the Infinity War writer decided to go on to do the Guardians 3, I think I'll be okay with that because we've seen them already with Infinity War. But other than that, I feel like there's going to be a huge loss.
No, I agree. And I mean, I don't think there's much else to say about the situation. I mean, it's incredibly difficult, and we don't know, it's just waiting for the next move, basically. How is Disney going to respond? That's basically all we got for now. So I guess that's going to wrap that up. So we're going to take some Twitter questions that you guys sent in this week, our wonderful readers. So let me grab that really quickly.
Fewer readers, most of our writers.
Yeah,
all because of you, Jackson. You enabled us.
All right, honestly, I did. I asked for questions because we didn't have enough. Cut that out, Marcos. Caleb, please. Okay, we're gonna start with an interesting one here. All right, Brandon Katz at Great Catsby on Twitter asked us to pitch a reboot, prequel, or sequel to a beloved '80s film property. So, Jacob, we're gonna start with you and go around the panel.
I'm glad you asked me first. I have a very interesting idea. What's one '80s property that everyone loves? Don't sound out. This is redundant.
You tell me.
Ghostbusters. Everyone loves the Ghostbusters. If you don't like the Ghostbusters, you're a terrible person. Okay. Now we've seen Dan Aykroyd. We've seen all these great male actors take on the role. But what if we flip the script? An all-female cast, headed by Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig. I'm trying to think.
Whoa! Dude, this is ridiculous.
What about Kate McKinnon? Kate McKinnon. Oh my God, Leslie Jones, dude. We've got a script right here. Okay.
Are you saying that they're going to make a decent movie that people are going to hate on for no reason at all?
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm pitching here. I say we switch it up to what if we flip up the receptionist? We bring in a male role, Chris Hemsworth. What are you guys thinking? How are we thinking about this? We like it?
I think this sounds like a perfectly fine movie. That's not perfect, but I liked it.
But what movie is perfect? Moments. Exactly. But you know what? The best part of this is we're going to have an entire section of the internet hate on it before the movie even comes out. I think this is the perfect script. What do you think?
This sounds too real for me. It sounds crazy.
It's crazy believable.
I'm kind of having deja vu right now.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. Just the idea just came to me. I don't know. But
do you need a producer? Because I will fund this movie.
I would appreciate that very much, actually. My Patreon is up on my Twitter. If you want to go there and help me fund it.
Do we have a Patreon?
We should get a Patreon.
We absolutely do not.
We should definitely get a Patreon.
Because I don't know. Because our viewers might not know this, but we're poor. So if you would like to make us not poor, we'd really appreciate it.
I have rent coming up in a few days.
They don't have a way to send us money yet. You can't be asking for money.
Our PayPal is Jacob Campbell. If you would, so if you'd like a Patreon and a female Ghostbusters movie, let us know. Why don't we throw the question around the table?
Can we get a GoFundMe?
Okay, Mark, get us off this train.
Okay, let's get off this Ghostbusters train.
I think we should get back on the train.
Whoop whoop.
Oh, actually, the movie that I have in mind is sort of train related. If you want to consider one of the films of this, but I'm gonna go with a different franchise, and I'm gonna say Back to the Future. I'm going to do a sequel to this one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, modern day.
So the first thing that I'm going to do is we're not actually going to see these the old characters like Doc Brown, Martin McFly. We're going to see we're still going to have the DeLorean, But what's going to happen is that Doc Brown's going to sell it, and now we're going to see different group of people working on it. Maybe even all-female cast for this one.
Whoa.
I'm thinking we throw in Melissa
Betty
McCarthy.
White is the new Doc.
Wait, no. I'll do you one better. Golden Girls meets Back to the Future sequel.
Oh God! Now we have a movie.
I think that'll sell out theaters worldwide.
We just sold a movie.
All right, Colin, give me one.
I'm gonna go with Twins. There's been rumors this whole time that there's another one called Triplets coming out with Eddie Murphy attached, which I think would be brilliant. I loved Twins. I don't know if you guys are big fans of it. I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know how you couldn't. It's got Danny DeVito,
Exactly.
the greatest actor on this earth. I would really love to see a Triplets movie. I mean, get Eddie Murphy back into some comedy. I haven't seen him in forever. I don't really know how you'd want to pitch it. I'm not a director. I'm not a producer. I'm not a writer. I can't really give you that. I just want a Triplets movie.
Here's how you pitch it. What if I could tell you we have a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Eddie Murphy, and Danny DeVito.
All right.
That's the movie. That's the movie. There you go.
You just have to put Danny DeVito there, and I'm in.
You save Danny DeVito for last. You get him. You have him wanting more. You're like, oh my God, how could this cast get any better? Danny DeVito.
Right, here, I'll give you a serious answer here.
Okay.
And the only answer is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And I want a sequel. Oof. I need modern day Ferris Bueller. What is he doing? What office crazy job does he have
taking
now?
Taking a day off work.
Yeah, taking a day off work. What does he do? We saw what he did as a kid. What can he do as an adult with money?
I like where this is going.
What crazy adventure can he go on? We get Cameron back. Cameron's in charge of his dad's company. He's got an even better car than last time.
This is good.
He's gonna wreck it thing.
He's got
another car.
He's got a Tesla.
There's a bigger Chicago parade. The Cubs it's a World Series game. You make everything bigger. So we're making Ferris Bueller the bigger and bolder cut. That's what it is.
I like this idea. Now let's move on to our next question because I think we just destroyed the 80s.
We've ruined our parents' childhoods.
Everyone who's listening is like, I'm done.
As if the 80s didn't destroy itself already.
Whoa.
Wow. Mark, you're not on the next podcast.
All right. We're gonna jump into the next question. We covered this a little bit, but something we do here is that if someone asks a question we already talked about, we're gonna give a funny answer. So, what are our thoughts on the Ruby Rose Batwoman casting? Jacob, give me something sarcastic.
I'm still okay with it. I definitely think that they could have casted someone different. If I myself was casting Batwoman for the CW, the only actress you need is Scarlett Johansson. She's got the range. She can literally play anyone. Asian, trans, anyone, literally anyone. I think they changed the game altogether.
She can play a phone.
She can play a phone. Literally a phone. I think what they could have done different. Batwoman's not actually a person. She is a literal bat. It's just Scarlett Johansson as a bat.
Is it the bat from that cut scene from the Val Kilmer Batman?
Yes, it is. It is.
The weird scene, the look-at scene.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought it up. That's literally who she's playing. They're converging Val Kilmer's Batman with the CW. It's the crossover no one wanted, but they're giving it to him.
All right, we're gonna move on because we're getting long on time. So I'm sure everyone else had some decent answers, but our own Weston
probably in there.
Yeah, Colin was just gonna go Danny DeVito, so I'm gonna save the time.
I was gonna say Sarah Jessica Parker.
It's even better.
Okay, Weston asked, besides what's been announced, what kind of content do you want to see on the DC and Disney streaming service? I'm gonna jump off. Spoilers for Teen Titans Go if you haven't seen it. If anyone who's on right now needs to muffle.
Hold on. I got him. Okay.
How have you not seen it? It's on Twitter. Oh my God.
It literally was spoiled the first day by our own writer.
Our own writer retweeted it. Like, what?
Oh,
Rascal,
okay.
What were you
Wait. If actually the only thing I know about Teen Titans Go is that retweet, so I think I'm okay with this.
Okay, yes. The original. If you haven't seen the movie, the original Teen Titans were teased at the end of coming back. I need season 6. I need season 6 of the 2003 Teen Titans cartoon on the streaming service. I need it now. I needed it yesterday. I needed it 10 years ago. All right, Mark, you can come back now.
I was already on here. Don't worry. Because I was spoiled already. That's why I checked.
Okay,
I checked. I was sort of listening, and I'm okay.
Okay, well, Mark, what's your answer? Do you want to see anything specific on the streaming service?
Nothing specific. I just want quality content because so far with the DC streaming services, it's not that promising right now.
Oh God, don't get us into Titans again. We're gonna go off for another half an hour.
Yeah, don't worry. That's it.
Who doesn't like Party City Wigs?
Colin, you got anything?
Just like you, I would love to have season 6 of the original Teen Titans cartoon series. I own all 5 of the original seasons. I love it. I need it. as far as Marvel or Disney's, I would love to have. Maybe you could get Marvel comics on there, like how DC's gonna put their comics on there. I mean, I get that's just DC, but and maybe Disney couldn't be able to get Marvel's comics on there, but if they could, I would love to see that.
How about some Marvel one-shots? How about we get those back?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
This would be nice to have back.
All right, Jacob, you got one?
I mean, I actually really like Colin's idea of getting some Marvel comics on the Disney streaming service. But if I had to get a show, I know that they're not going to be really making any more like Netflix series. I'd love a Moon Knight series on the streaming service. It'd be all like I who doesn't like Moon Knight? Everyone loves him.
All right, you keep talking about that. We've been talking about that for 5 years. It's beaten to death.
Jackson, I'm gonna be it somewhere. Okay, how about that? Do you want to
Okay,
argue some more?
next
You're
question.
on next week's Jacob Rants. How about that?
I hope so. I'd love to
This week
listen.
saw Jacob's right. It's Jackson.
Okay,
Jackson's
next
mean.
question. Our own Rascal asked, do you guys think Howard the Duck should get a film or television reboot? I'm going to say no.
I was gonna say neither. Yeah, I was just gonna say neither.
Sorry, Rascal, I'm just not that into the character. I don't think
What?
it'd be funny.
Now,
He's in Guardians 2 and Guardians 1. That's good.
let me try and sell you on something. You know how you just brought up one shots? It's a series of like 3-minute clips. Howard the Duck
Okay, I
one
might be
shots.
down for that.
See?
I might be down
There
for
you go.
that. Wow, I answered my own question.
There you go.
Mark, would you want to see Howard the Duck back?
I'd like to see Howard the Duck back, but only in one shot.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Our next question from our own Kevin. What's your dream superhero role if you were actors and beefcakes? I don't think any... Colin, do you think you're a beefcake?
Personally, I think I'm already a beefcake, Kevin. I'm kind of offended. I think everyone that's on this podcast right now is a beefcake. I think everyone in our whole group is beefcakes, unless, I mean, some of the girls probably don't want to be called beefcakes. In that case, I mean,
Never know.
I don't know what's
Cut this
what's
out,
the female
Caleb.
alternative to a beefcake.
Beef pie? I don't know.
Yeah,
What the hell does that
Beef
mean?
pie?
I don't know.
cake versus pie.
Yeah, just cut that out. Please cut this
Gender
out.
neutral cake?
I'm sorry. I
What's your
even
dream
started
superhero role, Colin?
this. Could I go villain and say Doctor Doom?
Sure. You don't want to
If
have you
not-
don't want to show your face. Fair enough. Moving on,
Yeah,
Jacob.
well, I'm ugly.
If I had to have a dream superhero role, that's tough. I'd like to play
Rapid fire. Hurry up.
Iron Man. Because I'm,
All right, Mark.
I'm a jerk.
Mr. Crumble.
Mr. Incredible. Okay, I'm going Punisher. Next question.
Sure,
Okay,
really, sure.
Jordan Humphrey asked us, "Why are you guys so ridiculously good looking?" I think Colin kind of took that
I just
already.
cut-
I think
that.
that's a trick
Just
question.
covered that.
We're not. There you go.
Wow, thank you. Okay,
You have a funny answer?
Next
That was a
question.
funny answer, guys.
I'm not. All right, Danny, our own Danny asked us, "Pitch your dream sequel to any movie." I'm gonna jump off. I want a sequel to The Social Network set today. With all the Russia Facebook stuff, it's not that interesting. But honestly, I didn't think The Social Network was going to be that interesting, and it's my favorite movie of all time. So,
Now,
Jacob?
first quick question about yours. Is it still going to be Jesse Eisenberg, or are we actually going to have the Zuck
absolutely, it needs to be Jesse Eisenberg. I can't take the actual robot. I
in it?
need
You
the
don't
guy
want,
who can.
you don't
play
want the
a
Zuck?
robot.
I gotcha. Okay, so dream sequel. I would love Sherlock Holmes 3 or Iron Man 4. I've wanted those movies forever. I would love.
Isn't Sherlock Holmes 3 coming?
I think
Yeah,
it
it
is, and I just want to say, I want to put it
Yeah.
out there because I know one day they're going to be like, sorry guys, it's not happening. I just want it. I really need it to happen. I love the Sherlock Holmes movies. They're so good.
All right, Colin.
You know what? I'm gonna go a District 9 sequel. I love District
Oh,
9.
okay.
I'd love to see a
From Neil
sequel to that.
Blomkamp.
Only
Yeah.
if the title
Mark?
is District 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna go diverge a lot, pretty heavily to Disney animation. Although I know that Disney sequels are sort of a taboo thing, but I want a legitimate, actual sequel to Atlantis: The Lost Empire, because I think that's an underappreciated Disney movie, and I feel like you could really expand on that universe.
I think there was a sequel. Wasn't it like a direct-to-DVD one?
I don't count that. I said actual sequel.
It's
The
not
thing is-
canon.
Actual sequel.
That's like the sequel to Teen Titans, that movie that they made.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. It's
one
not
with
canon,
Empire or
guys. It's not canon.
Yeah, I want an actual theatrical release of that.
Okay, we're gonna run into our last question, and from our own douchebag Jacob,
That's me.
who do you think would win in a fight? And I'm gonna preface it beforehand so we don't take 2 hours, talking about different incarnations of characters. Who would win in a fight, Black Panther or Batman? And I'm talking today cinematically. Ben Affleck v. Chadwick Boseman. Jacob, it's your
Oh,
question.
I will.
Go right
I
ahead.
will go in. Okay, so the reason I brought this up is because I saw it on Twitter. Someone's like, "Who wanted to fight Black Panther, Batman?" And someone's like, "Really? You think Black Panther will win? He tried to kitty pounce on Thanos with 5 Infinity Stones. Exactly. He tried to take on a guy with 5 Infinity Stones in his vibranium suit. Are you trying to tell me Ben Affleck in his bat suit is going to take on Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet? Dude would get bitch slapped into Narnia. Like, what are you talking about? I mean, 100%. I think Black Panther wins that fight. And I know,
Does anyone else remember the Doomsday fight? What exactly happened there?
Exactly, he stood off.
He had to get his butt saved.
Exactly. Dude, if Wonder Woman wasn't there, oh my god, he'd be dead. But the whole point is, like, all the Batman fans that are listening, all 2 of them, are going to be like, well, all Batman needs is preparation. I hate that excuse so much. If you get Batman prep time, he can beat anyone. He doesn't have, here's how the fight goes. There's no prep time. He's sitting in Gotham. He's taking a walk. He's taking a stroll down the street. Chadwick Boseman jumps up in his Black Panther suit, and he doesn't have any prep time. He's dead. He loses the fight. That's my stance on it. Colin, do you have any opinions on the Black Panther versus Batman?
Is this like the Weekly Planet's standard football size field?
Oh yes,
Jacob?
I love when they do
Jackson
those.
would love that.
I love when they do those. Absolutely.
Anyways, I think Black Panther would probably win. I mean, I saw that thread you were talking about, and
Yeah.
it ended up with someone drawing a picture of Doomsday ripping off Thanos' arm. And I was just like,
Okay,
I love
okay.
this. It's so stupid. But I think Black Panther would win. I love Batman. I just think he's got superhuman. Black Panther has borderline superhuman abilities. Got a suit made out of one of the most powerful metals, and he has claws. I think he wins.
I mean, here's the issue. Chadwick Boseman. I mean, he's honestly older, but I mean, you can't tell how old he is because he's such a good looking
looks like
dude. He's a killer.
Yeah.
Black Panther don't crack.
Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck is pushing, getting his AARP card. Like this man is not. He's not.
Six.
He's not in the game anymore. He's not into it anymore.
Hold up.
If you get,
I don't mean to interrupt. Are we talking like regular Ben Affleck or like Facetune Ben Affleck? Babyface Ben Affleck.
yeah, we talked
Does this change the game?
CGI
Did we just change the game?
I think
no,
maybe.
absolutely not.
Give me young Ben Affleck. I don't know who wins that one.
You give me Goodwill Hunting Ben Affleck, maybe.
Good Will Hunting.
Maybe.
That's, now it's getting real.
Get
Well,
a hard
are they
Boston
fighting in
accent.
Wakanda?
I don't know if it can be Wakanda. That's kind of unfair. It should be neutral ground in a football field. I think we're gonna steal with the Weekly Planet's bit, and we're gonna put it on a football field, an American football field.
Okay. Is there prep time?
1v1. No prep time.
No prep time.
Dropping
Okay,
it
now
now.
it's real.
Mark,
Mark, what do you think about it?
Here's the thing. Batman is one of my absolute favorite superheroes, but here's the thing. He's got money and a couple gadgets. Black Panther has vibranium, and I think that settles the score right there.
I think so.
I mean, yeah. As soon as Batman throws one of his little batarangs at him, he's just, Chadwick is going to absorb the kinetic energy and then blast him out of the stadium. It's over. Like, I don't know what Batman's going to do. He's gonna hide in corners for nothing. Like, it's not a fair fight.
Here's how
Black
the fight,
Panther would win.
Here's how the fight's gonna go. Black Panther shows up. Bruce Wayne starts yelling, "Diana, Diana, help, please, Diana." That's how the fight's gonna go.
He's just going to go, oh shit, and then she's going to show up and save his life.
So many people hate
Okay.
this Black
All right.
Panther.
I think all right.
forever.
That's enough rambling for this week.
Can I ask one more
yes,
question?
Of course.
God.
When do you think we're gonna get a Captain Marvel trailer?
I'm gonna say probably October-ish.
I'm saying August. It's gonna be coming out in August.
Okay, this month. Okay.
End of the month. I guarantee end of the month. Not guarantee because I have no idea.
Thank you everybody for listening. I think we're gonna wrap up this week's show. I thank everyone for being here this week. Jacob, why don't you go ahead and say your goodbyes?
I've been Jacob. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast this week. Hope you liked it. Like I said earlier, you can follow me at Twitter at JacobCamp13. I just lost a follower. Whoever you are, please come back.
Who's me?
Yeah, I know, Colin. I didn't want to bring it up on the podcast.
All right, Colin, say goodbye.
All right. This has been Colin. First time on the podcast. I had a great time with you guys. Thanks for having me. And you can catch me at Twitter at Collin Stetzner.
Mark.
All right, this is Mark. I've had a great time with, being my first podcast. You could find me on Twitter at natcrown92796, and I hope that you enjoy this podcast.
And this was Jackson Hayes, and I appreciate everyone for listening. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, like, all those good things, and don't forget you can't fight the friction.
Wow, that's getting cut. That's the title.
All right, stop recording.